I was sitting up on my cloud in heaven a couple of weeks ago, and I heard Mimi Trenchard lamenting that she didn't have anybody to come down and MC her running event. Consequently, I asked leave of absence from the higher power. I don't play a very good harp, nor am I much of a singer, so they let me out of the choir also, and I took this weekend off and came down to my, well, what used to be my property. Once upon a time, I bought all this land from the Indians back in 1661, as I recall, which is about 325 years ago. And I paid them with things like shirts and jackets and wampum and that type of thing that they required. And I bought 3 necks of land. I bought what is now Orienta Point. I bought what is now the Hommocks, they call the Hommocks, and also the area in Larchmont called the Manor. I owned those 3 necks of land, and then about 20 miles from that point north, I also bought. So you see, I owned a very large portion of land, and I understand for my return here, the town has very graciously said that I'm entitled to this weekend's taxes on that land. And that amounted, I figured it up to somewhere around $756,000. I will be paid for 2 days of work for coming back here. For after all these people are on my property. But I'm very pleased to see that all the people have done such a wonderful job with my property, and they turned out to have a very nice community, which I think they should all be very proud of. And I hope that I can return 25 years from now for the 350th anniversary, and I'm sure I will look as dashing and as young and as vital as I do today. You will be witness to that in another 25 years. It's a pleasure to be back here, and I hope you all enjoy living on my land, and I hope the people who follow you will enjoy it. And I thank you for having me back here. Okay?
Thank you, John Ribuffo. at the finish line at the 325th Run and Walk, and I'm here with the first women runner. And your name, please?
Barbara Kiami.
Great, Barbara. Tell me about how the race was today.
It was great. It was a little bit warm, but besides that, the course was very well designated. I think Mimi did an excellent job. She should get a lot of credit for it. I really enjoyed it. I must thank the Super Runner Shop and Mark Heinbachel and Barry Schwartz and the whole team for helping me, letting me train with them, actually, and I can attribute my great running prowess to them. It was funny, I got involved in this race with a call from Mimi, and she asked me that she had heard that I did some freelance artwork on the side, and I enjoyed to do that, and she asked me to do all the posters and the applications and everything for the event.
They're great posters. I hope we'll be able to find some that we can take shots of. They're really very good.
Sure.
Very unusual.
I enjoy that very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for everything.
Thank you for running, and I'm glad it was a good run, and we'll try and get Mimi Trenchard. I have another runner here who is one of the first women across. She's trying to find out what she won, but anyhow, before she knows that, how was the race?
It was really good. It was a lot of fun, and it was nice to run on the same course as you practice on every morning.
Aha, so this is your community,
All
right?
through Larchmont Manor is where I do my run every day, through Manor Park, so I can see the water and the boats, and it sort of makes you feel real nice, running through your own neighborhood.
It's nice to run in a beautiful place like this area, right?
That's for sure.
We're very proud of Mamaroneck. We have the first walker, but really he's charging fourth here. Some excellent walkers coming through here. It's a hot day, and walking is hard as running. I'm here with a charming little girl. And what is your name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, I think you're Elizabeth Latona, is that right? Now tell me, did you walk or run?
Walk.
Can you tell by looking at your numbers whether you walked or run?
Yeah, this means walk. And this,
What's B?
I don't know.
Some sort of category. All right, well, you'll find out. Did you have fun? Do you do this often? Have you been ever in a race before?
Yeah, I've been in it lots of times.
Lots of times. Good. Did you have a good time? Great. Thanks for coming to see us. All right, I'm here with Mimi Trenchard, who organized this walk and run, which was quite a feat, if you pardon the pun. Didn't mean to do that at all. Mimi, congratulations.
Thanks an awful lot.
Very much
it was
for
really,
doing it.
Thanks a lot. It was fun. It was really fun, and it's really wonderful to see all the families out here and the kids, and lots of my friends.
Did you see the man rolling his baby carriage?
Oh yeah, Mark Heinbachel. That was marvelous.
I thought that was just classic.
Marvelous.
And Bill Zimmerman, I want to thank you as Superintendent of Recreation for the town of Mamaroneck for all you've done to help make this possible.
We appreciate the cable being here to cover this event. We got glorious weather, and this is the start of the big weekend 325 celebration, and we hope now that this will be an annual event.
Category, and what is your name?
My name is Barbara Rothman, and I was in the category 50 to 54. Runner. I was a runner. Runner.
No
50 to
fooling
54.
around.
That's right.
And how about you?
Irving Castle. I'm in the 60 to 64 walker.
Terrific.
Right out of Sarah Newman Elm for the aged.
You'll never be old. Don't worry. That's
right.
wonderful.
That's
Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
both.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce you to the people who've run this 325th anniversary birthday party, which has been some undertaking. And this is the run and walk section, and this is Janet DeMacy.
Hello.
and Linda Cates, and they have organized all this. How do you think this run has been going?
Absolutely wonderful. We've had the best day, and push my hat back, and wonderful cooperation from everybody. And Mimi Trenchard has done an absolutely fantastic job.
And the weather came through.
And I've got to plug some certain things because Orangia, a special orange drink, has supplied the drinks, and M&M Farms has supplied apples to us, and Sir Bagelot in Mamaroneck has supplied the bagels to feed the runners after the races, and it has just been the best fun. I've never been to a race before, and the camaraderie that is here is wonderful. And I've heard the runners talking about what a good course it was.
Well, it's the first time I think anybody's seen one of those around here for 50 years. And since back in the 1930s, and really is quite exciting to see them again.
So it's fitting that this should be back in these waters for the 325th.
Oh, I think it's a terrific way for us to celebrate that. Shamrock was a J boat, which they used to sail the America's Cup in from about the early 1900s to the 1930s. And she's a British boat, and she was the fifth of 5 Shamrocks, all owned by Sir Thomas Lipton, who tried and failed and tried and failed 5 times. Until I think she raced in about the 1920s. When he didn't win with her, he gave up. And after that, we had the boats of the Ranger and Rainbow in the 30s, which were owned by Vanderbilt. And then all the U.S. J boats were broken up during World War II for scrap. And they used to be kept at the Harrisoff Yard in Bristol, and then they were destroyed. But this one apparently was left in, or found in some place in England, and has been restored, and I gather is going to be kept in Newport now as a combination, sort of a museum.
This is Michael Witch, and I'm on board Shamrock 5, and I'm here with the captain of the ship, Bob Gunther, and also with Derek Carroll. And Derek, what did you tell me I should say right at the beginning?
Well, you're looking at Shamrock 5, 162 feet up, because that's the top of the mast that you first saw.
That's terrific. Interesting statistic. How much sail does this ship have, Captain?
It's about, with full sail, about 5,500 square feet of sail. That's without the spinnaker. When we carry the spinnaker, we're up closer to 7,500 square feet of sail.
And what would be the top speed of Shamrock?
Well, the fastest we've gone is about 14 knots. That's under ideal conditions with about 30 knots on a beam reach, fairly calm water. The boat really flies.
This boat has some history to it, doesn't it?
Oh, it has a very long history. It goes back to 1930, and I think Derek can tell you a little bit more about the history than I can.
All right. Derek?
Well, Shamrock was built by Sir Thomas Lipton for the 1930 America's Cup races. And after it finished the races in 1930 off Newport, it went back to England and was refurbished so that it was more than just a racing vessel. It was a cruising vessel. When Sir Thomas died in 1931, the boat was purchased by a gentleman by the name of Sopwich, Sir Thomas Sopwich, who was the originator of the British Camelback aircraft, and he used it as a sort of a racehorse for his new 1934 challenge Endeavour. After he finished with it, he sold it to Sir Richard Ferry, and who kept it for just a short while, and then it was sold to Mario Crespi, Senator Mario Crespi of Italy, who had it until he passed away in 1961. And the reason Shamrock is still where it is today is because of the senator. He was a very close friend of Mussolini's, and he hid Shamrock under his villa in Portofino during World War II because there's 92 tons of lead in the keel, which would make a lot of bullets. But that never happened. This is one of only 3 J-boats left in the world. The 6 American vessels were all dismantled. The 3 that are still in existence are Shamrock 5, Endeavour, which is being refurbished by Elizabeth Meyer in Holland at the moment, and Valsheda, that is over in the Mediterranean at the time, right at the moment. It is not in the best of condition, so Shamrock is really the jewel of the J-boats and probably one of the jewels of the world. It was purchased from the Crespi estate by Senor Pietro Scano, and he kept it for 16 years until last year when a fund was given to the Museum of Yachting in Newport, Rhode Island by the Lipton Company, and they purchased the yacht for $1,650,000 from the Scano family, and it is now the property of the Museum of Yachting in Newport, Rhode Island. So that's the history of Shamrock 5.
Thank you, Derek. What is it like to captain this ship?
Well, it's a great experience. It's a rather unique experience since this is really the only J-boat in actual sailing trim at the moment. I think Valsheda does some sailing, but the other boat is being repaired. And this is really the only J-boat that is in condition to go transatlantic, which is, excuse me, which is what we did. We sailed it from Barcelona to New York. And it's been a great experience, a very unique experience.
I was told that this is the first summer that this ship has been in American waters in a long while.
Yes, well, she came over, as Derek mentioned, she came over in 1930 to race in the America's Cup, challenge for the America's Cup. And then she was back there for 56 years, and we brought her over this spring. And she's been going up and down the East Coast since then. This is sort of the end of this season.
Any unusual stories attached to this boat that either of you gentlemen would like to share with the audience?
Well, my experience with the boat only goes back as far as February. I think it's unusual in that the boat was this J-boat. We have the racing rig in. The rig is 16 stories tall. The beam of the boat's only 20 feet, and no J-boat's ever been sailed transatlantic with a full racing rig in it, and that was somewhat unique. Our departure from Barcelona was somewhat unique because that was the evening of the day that the U.S. bombed Libya, and Libya retaliated by blowing up one of the navigating stations, one of the Lorient stations in the Mediterranean. And plus there were riots in Barcelona, anti-American riots, so we left at midnight, and we found that one of our radio aids to navigation had been blown up. So nothing too serious from our standpoint, but it was a little unusual.
I'll say. Can you tell us something about, we're going to be looking around the boat a little later. Can you tell us some of the features that we should be especially interested in?
Well, this boat, as Derek mentioned, was rebuilt, but the interior is the way it was 50-odd years ago. And unlike most boats that have chrome, all of the hardware down below is silver plate, except those few items that are gold plate. You normally don't find that on a yacht. The plumbing fixtures have been hand painted by an Italian artist whose name escapes me. Do you recall, Derek, who it is? And it is really it's something out of the past. It really is a museum piece, and you can just roll the calendar back a half a century and see how the yachting class lived half a century ago. And there's nothing else like it in the world. It's just unique. When you go below, you'll see that.
Well, for those folks who we may not be able to see down below because we don't have enough light, but for those folks who are completely unfamiliar with yachting, what are some of the features topside here that they might be interested in? For instance, you're sitting in front of a beautiful-looking wheel,
right?
And the device to the right.
Those are the engine controls. We have twin screw, 2 diesel engines below for propulsion when there's no wind to sail. And that's an old, you don't see controls like that anymore. That's our whole engine control panels, and over here are sailing instruments. And this is where, well, Derek, we used to call him Iron Mike Derek. In the when we crossed the Atlantic, he'd get out there at watch at 2 in the morning, and normal watch was a half hour, and he'd stay there about 3 hours, seas breaking over him, and say, "Derek, will you come in?" "No, I love it out here."
You didn't have to lash yourself to the wheel, did you, Derek?
Only one evening. That was the night that we hit that storm that sunk the Pride of Baltimore. We were off Bermuda. I guess it was 2 days out of Bermuda. And one evening we were in 50-knot winds and 25-foot seas. And I guess about 2 o'clock in the morning I was standing out here with my harness on, lashed in, and a renegade wave hit us. I can't tell you how big it was, but it completely flooded the skipper's cabin and the doctor's cabin. And I felt like I was in water for I can't tell you how long. But I was absolutely soaking wet. I had water down on my boots, and it just seemed like I was dumped in a swimming pool when I came out of it. And I just ducked my head, and as I say, I don't know how long I was in that water, but it just wanted to throw me over the side, but I hung on for dear life. So that was a great experience.
What is a full crew for Shamrock? How many hands?
Well, we came transatlantic with 15 people. When they used to race the J-boats, they'd have 35 to 40 people for an afternoon sail. Of course, they didn't have, back those days, they didn't have all the winches that we have. However, we would not be able to race a boat with only 15 people, even with the winches. It's just getting the mainsail up is a lot of work for 10 young gorillas.
So how many are on board now, for instance?
Well, right now, I think total, you can tell the crew by the green pants, and I think there are 5 of us aboard, or 6 perhaps, 6 of us aboard. And for normal, like we went out for a little afternoon run, 6 are adequate. But if you want to do any serious sailing, the 15 are probably all right, and if you were going to do some racing, you probably want 20 on board.
This visit to Mamaroneck on the anniversary of the 325th birthday of the town, this is an end of a tour, isn't it, that Shamrock has been on?
It's just about the end of a tour. We're going from here up to Indian Harbor for a few days, and then possibly on to Australia for the America's Cup. We are right now working on getting a freighter that can take us over and drop us off in Fremantle. We think that's going to work, but we're not positive at this moment. But that's our goal is to get it to Australia. The Australian government and the Royal Perth would love to have us, and we said if we can possibly get there, we'll be there.
That's terrific.
I guess we should clarify that we would be going there as an observer, not as a participant in the America's Cup.
Well, thank you two very much for talking with us, and wish you the best.
Thank you very much. It's been nice.
I think it was a splendid parade. It was truly a homegrown parade with the children from the schools and our local organizations, and I just think it just lent the final exhilarating spirit to the year-long activities.
I'm delighted to be here. I think it's just wonderful to have such an outpouring of civic pride, community pride on this anniversary, 325, I understand. I think it's very important to touch back to the great heritage that exists in this county, and I'm delighted to go around this wonderful county and participate in these parades.
This is it, the 325th birthday of the town of Mamaroneck, and any minute now the parade should be marching down.
saying this is probably the best parade we've seen in this town in many, many years.
Good. Well, maybe we'll have some more.
Yes, we would love to.
But a 325 is a good reason to celebrate.
Absolutely.